But if you were just joining us at 9 o'clock this morning, an explosion occurred at the Murrah Federal building in downtown Oklahoma City. A blast that was felt for miles away. Cars all around the outside of the building, charred shells right now. There you can see as the building was just simply cut away by this huge explosion.
Recapping briefly, the president said he's deploying a team of crisis management experts under the direction of the FBI to Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City has been designated a disaster area. President Clinton says justice will be swift, certain, and severe when the perpetrators are found. Attorney General Janet Reno saying that she will pursue every lead in bringing these people to justice. A round-the-clock special FBI command post has been set up in Oklahoma City.
We intend to honor the dead and honor the living by finding out who did this and never permitting misconduct to recur.
On April 19, 1995, the Murrah Federal building in Oklahoma City was bombed, killing 168 people, including 19 children, and wounding almost 700 more. In the almost 3 decades since the bombing, there has been much speculation about the official narrative presented by authorities. As with most conspiracy theories, there is enough counterfactual information to poke so many holes in the official story it no longer represents the actual truth of what happened. As the research continues, as the FOIA requests reveal more and more, the pile of alternative facts builds quickly, and before you know it, you have more questions than you started out with. Was there more than one bomb? Were there more people involved than just Timothy McVeigh? What to make of John Doe number 2? What about McVeigh's seemingly spurious past, as well as his vast network of friends who worked in intelligence? The usual counter to claims of a conspiracy is this. If there was something going on, wouldn't somebody talk? Wouldn't somebody sound the alarms? Wouldn't it involve so many people directly and indirectly? One of those people would have the guts to speak up? But what if there was somebody who tried to talk, and you've never heard of them or their story because they were silenced? In the case of the Oklahoma City bombing, that somebody was Terrance Yeakey. Oklahoma City police officer Terrance Yeakey was a few blocks away when the Murrah building was bombed, and was one of the first responders on the scene. He fearlessly and heroically climbed into the rubble, pulling out people one by one, and returning to search and find more, eventually rescuing 8 people in total. Yeakey was a military veteran, as well as a 7-year veteran of the Oklahoma City Police Department, with big dreams of working for the FBI in the future. In fact, he had a final interview scheduled with the FBI for a job in Dallas, but, according to the official narrative, he killed himself before he had a chance to go forward with that next exciting chapter of his life. Yeakey's death occurred almost a year after the Oklahoma City bombing. He died just a few days before he was meant to receive the Medal of Valor from his police department. Even from the very day that the bombing happened, Yeakey maintained that something was not right about the whole thing. Quote, "It's not what they say it is. They're not telling the truth. They're lying about what's going on down there." Over the course of the following year, Yeakey faced tremendous pressure from the OCPD to sign off on the official narrative of events, and in fact spent that year gathering evidence to build a case to the opposite. During that final year of his life, he was constantly making remarks to his family that he was being harassed and followed. He never told them exactly who was following him, but it was enough that he was sufficiently spooked. His last known words were, "As soon as I shake these feds that are following me, I'll be back and we'll go to dinner." He was never heard from again. I'll read an article I found on thefreethoughtproject.com. Sergeant Yeakey's body was found in a field in El Reno, Oklahoma, over a mile away from his abandoned vehicle. There was an extremely large amount of blood found in his vehicle. He had been bound, had rope burn on his neck, ligature marks on his wrists, numerous deep cuts, likely tortured and killed execution style with a single bullet that entered his right temple at a 45-degree angle. To top it off, no gun was found at the scene of his death, until an FBI agent showed up and suspiciously found the gun in an already thoroughly searched area within 5 minutes of being there. The official story we are expected to believe is he bound himself up, then he broke free, then he cut his wrists, and neck nearly bled out, then left his car and jumped a barbed wire fence and walked nearly a mile away where he shot himself at an improbable angle with a gun he didn't even have. Terrance was obviously killed for what he saw that day and his refusal to surrender to the official narrative. We like to pretend that we live in a democracy where it's America, I can say and think what I want, it's a free country, ain't it? That it's only evil dictators in places like Russia that kill their dissidents for threatening to expose the truth. But that is simply not the case. Consider Julian Assange or Edward Snowden, for example, to see how the freest country in the world handles freedom of thought or expression. Even now, the left is freaking out over Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter, which is the tiniest possibility that they've lost 1/1000th of their control over information. Manufacturing consent is priority numero uno of the regime, and controlling the narrative concerning their own corruption and illegal behavior becomes a side effect of that. And if you have to break a few eggs to make that liberal democracy omelet, so be it. I made a video about a year and a half ago showing all of the mysterious deaths surrounding the JFK assassination. It's about 12 minutes of stories just like this one. People killed for having the balls to speak up. You see, the Warren Report was going to be the word of God, and any dissident thought was simply snuffed out. People do see things, they do speak up, and many times they've paid the ultimate price for it. Terrance is a great reminder of that. I think he underestimated the forces he was going up against. Most of the time, the regime uses soft power to coerce us into cooperating, but occasionally they seem willing to use hard force as well. Epstein was never going to be allowed to talk in court about what was really going on, even if he wanted to. And if all the security cameras had to fail, and if 2 security guards had to fall asleep, all on the night they had the most high-profile inmate on suicide watch in a prison where an inmate hadn't killed themselves in 20 years, none of that mattered. I mean, they still wrenched on his neck so bad it broke bones. That's how much it doesn't matter. None of the discrepancies matter because in the end, Epstein didn't talk. And they're willing to leave behind a mystery surrounded by circumstantial evidence rather than have the truth come out. Or take Adrian Schoolcraft. He was a cop in the New York Police Department. He brought damaging information about corruption in the police department to NYPD investigators, and as a result, his apartment was illegally broken into. They physically abducted him and committed him to a mental hospital, where he was held against his will for 6 days. They suspended him without pay upon his release. It's a worthwhile story I'd encourage you to check out for yourself. Rather than think this kind of stuff is fringe, extreme examples, maybe we should rethink that assumption. Anyways, that's all the time I have for today. If you enjoyed this video and type of content I'm making, consider giving this video a like or maybe subscribing. I will see you all in the next video. Peace.